Welcome and hello to my channel. Today for you I have a book haul. I just recently saw one of my best friends and she let me borrow a bunch of her books. So Ariel, if you're watching, thank you so much for allowing this video to happen with your books. The first one I have is by Agatha Christie, and Then There Were None. Some of you guys may recognize this author as the one who wrote The Murder on the Orient Express. And if you're like me, who reads more of YA, you probably haven't read any of her books. I watched the movie though whenever it came out and I enjoyed the movie, so I'm hoping that I'll enjoy reading her books as well, or just as much. From what I get from the synopsis, this one is about a couple of strangers who apparently don't think they have anything in common, but according to the person who invited them to this isolated mansion, they all have some kind of mysterious secret that connects them all. And as the nights or days go on, some of them, as the nights and days go on, they are dropping dead. So that's going to be a fun one, I think, to read. The next one is The Bargaining by Carly Ann West. This one I'm excited to read because it's more of that YA genre that I typically read. So this one is about a girl who has to go with her stepmom to this little town, backwoods town, and her stepmom recently bought a house and she's there to help her fix it up. And as you guys can imagine, there's some scary elements going on. The woods are haunted. So I'm really interested for this one because it has everything I like to read within a YA genre. Hopefully, it sounds like there may be a little bit of romance, not for sure. But that one will hopefully be an interesting read. The next one is also more of YA, maybe some scary elements in it. It's called The House by Christina Lauren. This one I'm really excited about. The synopsis makes it sound really interesting. It's about this girl who goes back to public school and she still has a crush on this boy that she had a crush on since they were little, and he apparently lives in some kind of like haunted house, and it's kind of like how they deal with that or so along those lines, something like that. So that one I'm interested in. This next one is probably most of you guys have heard about. I think it's pretty popular. If I remember right, my friend had to get it for one of her college classes. It's Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen McManus. Sorry, if I mess any of these authors' names up, I apologize. I'm not the best with pronouncing names. So this one is also the author of One of Us is Lying. From what I get from the synopsis of this one, the main character ends up having to go to a school where her aunt or mom or somebody like that used to go to, and somebody went missing back then when her parents were in school, and now people are going missing now when she's in school, and she kind of, becomes a detective and has to figure out what exactly is going on. The next one is by Emily A. Duncan. It's called Wicked Saints. I'm excited to read this one because it sounds like there's going to be a love triangle. It sounds like it's going to be dark. Sounds like one of those ones where you get into it and you just don't want to stop reading it, and hopefully before it ends, you're hoping that there's more to it. But this one I believe is just the one book, and from what I get from this one, like I said earlier, maybe a love triangle, back when queens and kings, when stuff like that were around, and it sounds just really, really interesting, so I'm hoping that will be a good one. The next one is by Liane Moriarty. I know I pronounced that wrong, so I apologize. It's Nine Perfect Strangers, which some of you guys may recognize this from. There's a Hulu, I believe it's Hulu, series now based off this book. This author is also the one that wrote Big Little Lies. I've never read that book either. This is not one I would typically read just because it's not a YA book. I believe my friend had to get this as well for one of her classes, but I'm not 100% sure. This one I do know is about 9 perfect strangers. They go to this health retreat, and then they start questioning the director of the health retreat, starting to wonder, is the director really somebody who can help them? How did this person get started? Are they really going to get better at this health retreat? So that one's going to be interesting. And the last one I have for you guys, I don't have a paper copy. I just have it electronically on my iPad. It is the questionable, debatable series, the After series. Some of you guys may be rolling your eyes right now about it because you probably heard so much stuff about it. I've actually read the After series during quarantine. I read the entire series. I've seen the 2 movies that are out, and I really enjoyed the series. I remember while reading it, I mean, there were times I was like, you know, what is this book really doing? You know, is it going too far with some things that happen in it? And at some points I was just like, this is just basically repeating the same storyline over and over in each book with no resolution. But by the time I finished the series, you know, and got past those humps, I really enjoyed the series. During it, I remember feeling, you know, frustrated, happy, sad, just overwhelmed with everything, you know, going on. So I'm really interested to see how I feel about it after reading it a second time. I'm not one to reread books or even rewatch movies, if I'm honest. It's just one of those things that, you know, that's weird about me, that I just don't do on a normal basis. So I'm interested to see how I like it on the second go around. I also want to read the books and then rewatch the movies and kind of compare and contrast, and maybe do a video on that. So that will be interesting as well. I'm excited for the new movie to come out. Hopefully, they've done a little bit better job than what they did on the second one, but we can talk about it later in a different video. So that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for taking the time out and watching this. Definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think about the books that I'm going to be reading. If you guys have read them, should I just not even worry about reading them? Is it worth my time? Let me know how you guys feel about the After series. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video.